Today we're going to go through the assembly of the new YoraHome Mandrill CNC machine. It's a pretty simple assembly. There's most of the stuff's already put together. You've got the bed, you've got the gantry, and limit switches are already installed and everything. And so let's just go through briefly real quick what you should have received. You've got your control box, you've got clamps, your set of wrenches. You should have got a spindle, you've got your laser mount or module ring, a limit switch bracket, USB power, some screws, your Z probe, and your drag chain. And so we're going to go ahead and go through the installation of this and get you to work. Let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the gantry X-axis on the bed, and the first thing you're going to look for is you should have 4 screws here on the side, and or 4 nuts, sorry, and you want to kind of line them up 2 2. Same thing on the other side. You want to kind of line them up, because what we're going to do is just pick this up. Be very careful. Put it right on there. You want to put it roughly where the 2 screws are. Now what I'm going to do is do the top one, top right, and then the bottom left. And I'm not going to tighten it all the way so that you can still move it for both sides. So you should have in there, you should have the M5, 8 pieces, M5 times 8 pieces of, or 8 screws. And go ahead and get your socket for them. And like I said, you're going to put it on that bolt there, or on the nut. So you have to lift it a little bit to get it in there. Move it over, kind of lift it up a little bit so it goes in there. And just get it started. Once you get it started, that's fine. Now you're going to look in the little hole here and kind of slide it just slightly. You may have to move this side with it just till you see the bottom one there. And same thing. Get it started. There we go. And then same thing with the top one. It's already lined up because I did that earlier. And same thing with this bottom one. So, oops. If not, you could just put your little wrench in right there just to move it a little bit if you want. And there we go. Now, whoops. I'm going to do that again. Oh, needs to move a little more. Now, I'm not going to tighten all these because you may have to slide this side over here, forward back a little bit. Plus, we got to do a measurement here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this around, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side that I just did. Whoops. Move this stuff out of the way here. Very simple. Same thing, you're going to look, see my holes, they're way off. So the reason why I left this side not tight, or left it loose, is so that I could slide this whole thing forward. But you want to slide it together. You don't want to just try and pull one piece here. So I'm going to go for the top one right here, and I'm pretty sure I got that lined up. You're going to need to lift this up, and then it'll move around a little bit, and go ahead and just get that started. And then I'm going to go, now see, now this one's not, now I could slide this a little bit. Actually, there we go, perfect, right there. Really simple. Same thing with the other 2. Move it around if you have to. This one is right there. And this one is right there. So, now that we've got them in, you could still adjust or move this a little bit. You need to move it to a certain measurement here. So let me turn this for you. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to move the whole gantry to a certain distance so that your spindle, as you can see I did a measurement here for mine, so that your spindle is halfway point of the bed. So what I've got is 5.5 inches. So I'm going to move this forward slightly, but move both sides together until you get to 5.5 inches from this plate right here to the very back of the frame. So if you could see that, yeah, you can see that. So I got 5.5 inches here, and now that I have it here, I'm going to go ahead and tighten this side up. I'm going to just kind of take the weight off it. Make sure that it is straight. There we go. And then tighten all four pretty good. Make sure they're nice and snug. Now you gotta spin it around and measure the other side, and it should be pretty close. Should be, because you kind of can't move it much, but regardless, I'm gonna measure it here, and I got actually just a little bit, yeah, 5.5 inches right there. So same thing, I'm just gonna kind of take the weight off this a little bit, tighten one of these up, top right, then bottom left, make sure those are snug, and then the other two. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Okay, so we got that right where it needs to be. Let's move on to the next step. Okay, now we're going to put the drag chain on. And so the first thing, you guys, you got a pair of the M4 screws. I believe these are M4 by 8s. And the bracket we're going to put, you have up here, it's going to go right up top here like so. So let me move the camera up a little bit so that you can see a little better here. Make sure that you can see that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the socket for it, or the wrench. And it's going to go just like this. As you can see sideways here, you're going to put 2 screws in. Very simple. One, and then the other. I got slippery fingers today. There we go. Try and get it kind of straight. Just like that. Nice and tight, as you can see that. We're going to put the drag chain right up on top here. So let's go ahead and get that. This is very simple. So basically what this is going to be here, let me turn this around so I can see what you see. Oops. It's going to go just like this. So you're going to have the drag chain with the Z motor wires here. It's going to come up on top. I'm going to put 2 screws right here, and then we're going to put the other screws right here. So it's really easy. The best thing I would say first is to put this up here. I'm going to go ahead and put these 2 screws in here first. So this is the, where they go, the M4 by 10 screws and the T-nuts, and these are the countersink screws. They have, let me see that, little tips like that there. And so what I'm going to do is put them through. This is the part that's going to go over here. I'm going to put the screw through and then put the T-nut, just get it started. I find this easier to do right now than after I get it all mounted up on here. Same thing with the second one. I'm going to run it through, oops, and get it started without unscrewing the other one. Just get it started. Because what we're going to do, I'm making a mess here. What we're going to do is we're just going to put it up top here, and it's going to get right into the slot. Now with that being said, the other set of screws we need are the countersink M3 by 6 screws. So these are the little black screws that are going to go up here on the drag chain. So let's get them out. Again, these are the little black screws, you can see them. Perfect. So the same thing, you got 2 holes up here. I'm going to go ahead and put this one on first so that the top is not going to fall around. I found that when I did this, the whole thing fell off, so I would recommend just leave it stretched like this. Leave it off. Camera here. And then we're going to go ahead and get our socket for this one. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one again. Here we go. So we're just going to put the T-nuts down inside the track, just like that. And then pull this, whoops, I had it. Pull the wire up out of the way and just move it right up to the green here. Let me turn this for you so you can see. Just move it right up to the green edge here. just like that. And then go ahead and just spin it quickly so that the T-nut turns. Same thing with the second one. You can just lift the drag chain up if you have to. Just spin it, and then just snug it down. Remember, this is plastic, so you don't need to be, you don't need a drill on it. But once you get those in, then you should be good there. And then now we're just going to pull this up, and we're going to put the other 2 screws in there. Really simple. I could probably do it right from here. Yep. So again, just pull this up out of the way, and then just line the two holes right up there. I would get probably the one closest to you, since once you get it started, it will secure it there. Then you could just work on the back one. It's not quite as easy, but. And let's see here. There we go. Get it started. Snug them down. Make it nice, right and flush with that right there. Snug them down. Really, really simple. There we go. Really easy to do. Get this out of the way. So we've got a drag chain on here. You've got your wires here. That's going to be for your motor. Now you may need to move this. So just if you push here a little bit, easy, and pull this easy, you could slide usually the wire within that. Not bad at all. And then that'll give you whatever little room you have. What I like to kind of do is slide it in, hook up all my connections, and then pull it back just until they're not snug, but you get a little bit of playroom here. So I'm gonna let me just raise this up a little bit for you, not that you can't see. There we go. So anyway, another step here is, let's turn this. Be very careful of this now. We're going to turn this sideways, and you should have gotten a plastic little wire clamp here. And this is basically going to go right on the side here, and the wire's going to go inside of it. So it's kind of to help keep the wire out of the way, because you've got your wires going back here. You don't want to go over this way, so your little clamp here. So I like to put this on the wire myself, because then I can kind of feel where it's going to go, rather than stick it here and then put the wire in it. So what I'm going to recommend is go ahead and hook up your motor, your X motor, while you're here. And then your X limit switch, you should have your labels right on it. And then now you kind of know where this is going to be. And you can then, don't tighten this up yet though. You can then kind of get a feel for where you want it. And I personally think I want mine right about there. I would say it's almost bed level, to be honest with you. Pretty much, that's a good rule of thumb right there. It's about bed level right there. So then just take the backing off. Let's unstick it, or take the back off. And then let's say bed level, and then stick it on there. Now, I'm going to say you can lock that down a little bit, but don't make it super tight, because remember, we still got to move this a little bit. So that's what that's for. It keeps it out of the way. Bed level is a good rule of thumb here. While I'm right here, let's go ahead and connect up your Y limit switch. Now see, this is pretty tight. So that's what I was trying to show you, is this is pretty tight. So you may need to bring this back some, just a little bit, so you don't want to make this too tight just yet. And if you do, you could just push this and it unlocks it, and to have it come back a little bit. So it's going to be, you'll have to make your best judgment on how to put that on. Same thing here, your Y motor, the 2 little slots go inward, go on there. So that should be a little bit snug, not bad at all. Put your wire up here, you've got your clamp here. Now I know that's kind of pretty much good. I'm going to push this in, lock it down a little bit. So let's turn this around. Now we've got our motor wire, we've got our limit switch, and we've got our spindle wires. So of course I like to have mine nice and neat, not tangled up. So unwind anything so it's nice and pretty. Connect up your Z limit switch. Let's connect up your Z motor. And again, I like to just double check all of my wiring. Does it look good? Does it not look good? Is it twisted up? Do I have enough length here? Because remember, this is going to be going up and down, so this is going to be on your spindle. It looks good here. I actually could pull it back a little bit, just a little bit like I just did there. And by doing that, it gives me a little more slack here, as you can see. So it's not super tight. So, you know, kind of use your best judgment. Fill it in a little bit. Make sure everything's good. So let's go ahead and put the spindle on now. I have mine down. What you could do is go ahead and roll this up about midway. It's good. And get your screw here, or your Allen wrench that fits the screw inside here. I'm pretty sure it's this one. Yeah. So when you put your spindle in, don't let it go because it's going to drop right to the bed. If you go to put it in and it won't go in at all, then unloosen these two screws until they're not snug anymore, and then your spindle should go right in. So I'm going to put mine in, and I'm going to lower it down roughly, you know, I'm going to say, I always thought a 1/2 inch. I'm going to pull this up a little bit here. So let's be specific here. Yeah, 1/2 inch. That's about usually where I put mine all the time. About a 1/2 inch below. And then go ahead and just hold the motor and snug these down. Be careful that they are snug before you let go of the motor because or spindle, you don't want it to slam into it. That's pretty snug. A little more here. That one. And that. There we go. So there's that. And then all you do now is hook up your spindle wires. You've got blue and red. You should have tagged on yours, blue and red. Hook that up. One of the things in one of my other videos when getting started is when you first turn your spindle on, I have a test video for this. When you turn it on, one of the things I like to do is on the control, turn it on, the spindle spins, take the control box and turn the speed all the way down and turn it up just a little until this turns, and it has to turn clockwise. If it does not turn clockwise, then you have these two backwards. No big deal, power it off, pull them off, reverse them, whatever, piece of cake. Okay, so that, my friends, is the assembly of the mandrill. So simple. What a beautiful machine. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this around and we're going to hook up the control box. Turn this here. I'm actually going to turn these so you can see the, whoops, sorry, so you can see the wiring. I'm going to move this out of the way for a second here, and I'm going to pull this here so that you can see. There's obviously a bunch of different wires, so I don't like to have a spaghetti mess, me personally. Let me make sure that you can see all this. I'm going to turn my camera down a little bit here. Again, I don't like to have a spaghetti mess, so I like to keep things open a little bit. You take care of it, it'll take care of you. Couple things. First off, the number one thing is your e-stop button. Mine actually is pushed in. So if I would have put this together, turned it on, nothing would have happened, it would have been dead. So turn it, and you'll feel it pop up. Get used to this, and then push it down lightly, turn it. So get used to it so you know the feel of it. So, you know, I could and accidentally hit and turn off. So that's important to make sure that's right. You've got your USB, your offline, and then on the back here, you have a switch for laser and spindle. Now for now, we have the spindle, so I'm going to switch this over to make sure it's on spindle. Plus you have your spindle, your power, and then your other connections. These are your limits, these are your motors, here's your power switch. Pretty much, that's pretty much for the most part here. You do have a selector for 110, 220, so make sure you double check that for whatever area you're in. So I'm going to go ahead and connect these up, and we'll go from there. So to make sure that you can see what I'm doing, really simple. Again, don't have a mess. Let me just move this over a little more from here. Let's go here. We're going to start with X. Actually, I'm going to start with the bottom. I'm going to go with X motor. Y1, where are we at here? Z, spindle, X motor. So I'm going to start here, work my way over, push it into a clips, very nice. And you've got Y1, Y2, and Z. In this case, we have Y1. Now see, it's all twisted up. I want to make sure that it comes undone, nice and pretty. Y2 is not used, but we do have Z. So here's my Z motor, and I'm going to pull that through here. Make sure it comes over here nice and neat. And so there's our 3 motors, and now what we have is our limit switches X, Y, Z, and then the Z probe, which I'm not going to hook up, but I'll show you real quick. So I'm going to start with the X limit switch on this side and just work my way so that I'm not fighting past myself here. I'll push my spindle out of the way. I've got Y right here, Z, and then you have your spindle. And the spindle goes right here in the green, just like that. Now, if you wanted to, very simple, take your Z probe, same thing, and do mine here. And your Z probe just clips right there. And I'm going to twist this back up, and you can put it back, and you can put it up on top till you're ready to use it. And that's it. That's how you hook it up. Very, very simple. I'm going to slide this around for you. Move this here. Just like so. Don't forget, you've got, let me make sure that you can see everything here. Yeah, piece of cake. Don't forget, you got your USB coming off here. You've got your laser ring and your power cord. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you have any problems, let us know. So it's time to get to work.
Jungle.